Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Previously, we were saved at the last moment by Susato, who was back in Britain, and we were able to buy another day of investigations while everyone goes searching for that engineer that Professor Hairbrain has pointed to as being a possible culprit in the sabotage of his machine. In fact, there's a possibility that the machine may have been just a fraud from the start, which... yeah, that's what I figured. Anyway, after reconvening with Susato and discussing everything that has happened in the last 6 months, we're out looking for more clues, and to that end, we're visiting Male Strongheart here, and we saw him talking with one Courtney Scythe. Yes, it's pronounced Scythe, I believe. And she would be the coroner who looked at the victim, Mr. Odi Asman, so... we'll want to talk to her too, but for now, let's look around here. I don't see anything new, but might be new dialogue. Just sitting behind that desk must make you feel so important, don't you think?
Would you like to have an office like this, Mr. Naruhodo, with such a grand desk?
Who, me? No, I don't think so.
Oh?
Well, imagine if you suddenly found yourself needing the toilet. You'd have so far to go.
How true. Perhaps the important people who work in ostentatious offices like this haven't considered such things.
I'm going to take that as a compliment. You ain't wrong. As ever, the enormous clock is diligently maintaining its rhythmical tick-tock today.
Watching machinery at work can be quite mesmerizing, can't it? Ironically, you can completely forget the time. What I particularly enjoy is watching the enormous wheels of a steam locomotive turning. When I was a little girl, Grandmother often used to take me to watch the railway engines, you know.
It's an open fire for me. I could sit and watch the flames for hours.
Mr. Naruhodo, we could install one in the office. An enormous wheel, turned by an enormous steam engine.
Perhaps we could start with a simple fireplace. Me, I really enjoy watching hour-long videos of people playing Ace Attorney. My videos are the best ones. You couldn't read all of those books even if you were reincarnated 6 times over as a bookworm. Okay, I recognize this one. Can Lord Strongheart really have read all of these?
Thinking about it, Father's study is full of books that look as though they've never been read too.
Oh, really?
Peddlers of books are forever pushing their wares on him, you see. And I think he's just too kind-hearted to refuse them.
There's a phrase for that in Britain. People would say they saw him coming.
It makes me wonder if perhaps the vast number of books on the shelves in here are a sign of Lord Strongheart's overwhelming kind-heartedness.
I'm not sure you could afford to have a kind heart if you had to keep Lord Van Zeeks in line, could you? Isn't there a Japanese word for the practice of buying books but never reading them and just letting them stack up? Forget what it is, though. These very European suits of armor are still glaring at each other from across the carpet, I see. In a way, they feel like guardians of the Lord Chief Justice's office.
I suppose. They're rather like the lion dogs that guard shrines in Japan, aren't they?
Yeah, the Komenu. Aren't they a bit too human to be called lion dogs?
Did you know that it's a dream of mine to keep 2 cats one day?
I feel as though we've gone off a bit at a tangent, don't you? You may know the Komenu as being what the Pokemon Arcanine is based after. It's not pronounced Arcanine, it's Arcanine. It's arcane plus canine, it's right there! Die on that hill. Anyway, Lord Strongheart, anything to say about the armband? By the way, Lord Strongheart, about this. The symbol of a defense lawyer in the Japanese judiciary. Oh, I didn't expect you'd know that. We never accept foreign students before first researching the legal systems of their home countries. But such trinkets are merely for show. The only true measure of your worth is your performance in court.
Yes, right.
Anything about the news?
Could I show you this, Lord Strongheart?
I'm the Lord Chief Justice. I'm not here to offer advice about evidence.
Oh.
Especially when the evidence in question is so dull.
Ah, so that's the real reason. Yeah.
He's not gonna have anything to say unless the autopsy report filed by Miss Courtney. No. Alright, down to brass tacks, let's converse.
What exactly is the forensic investigation team that you mentioned before?
The British Empire's police force must become the most exemplary in the world. For that to happen, it's imperative that we embrace forensic science in everything it has to offer. I first created the forensic investigation team a year ago now, unofficially of course, to pave the way.
Goodness, a year ago.
At next month's symposium, I intend to present the results of their work to the world. Once I do that, the House of Lords will be powerless... Horse of Lords? Will be powerless to oppose the creation of a full-scale forensics division. And once that happens, the position of Attorney General will be mine, and criminals will suffer dearly.
What do you mean?
For too long, those scoundrels have made a mockery of our legal system with false evidence and bribes. That's true. But London's scum is about to be rounded up and burnt in the fires of hell. Okay, that's a bit extreme. I intend to see to it personally. By creating the finest police force the world has ever known to protect our honor and our future.
Look at those eyes. He means every word.
Dr. Scythe is an extremely reliable coroner. When I officially establish the forensics division at Scotland Yard, she will run it as my right-hand woman. Now then, speaking of the symposium, Miss Mikotoba.
Yes, my lord.
Your father should be on the high seas as we speak, making his way here to represent the Empire of Japan.
Yes, that's right. I understand he will arrive at the beginning of next month. Are you acquainted, Lord Strongheart?
With Professor Mikotoba, I mean. It was many years ago now, but yes, I remember Dr. Mikotoba very well. Oh, do tell. If my memory serves, it was some 15 years ago now that your father came to Britain as a visiting student.
It was the year I was born. So yes, 16 years ago, in fact.
Mikotoba was a young practitioner of forensic science, and Jigoku accompanied him as a young, promising judge. The punctuality and politeness of the Japanese at the time impressed us greatly. Not that I wish to imply impoliteness or carelessness on your part in any way.
I didn't think that you were.
Dr. Mikotoba studied forensics at one of London's large hospitals. St. Sinners, if I'm not mistaken. That is a great name. Dr. Scythe was also there then, as it happens.
Then Dr. Scythe knows my father, does he? Does she?
She was a young medical assistant at the time, so I doubt their paths crossed regularly. But I've no doubt they knew each other superficially. After all, Dr. Mikotoba was here studying his subject for some 6 years in total.
6 years? That's a long time to be studying abroad, isn't it? I lived with my grandmother in those years. So he left his newly born daughter behind and went overseas for 6 whole years. It was a rather turbulent time at home. Oh. Perhaps Father wanted a reason to get away.
What do you mean? Why? Well, clearly something was going on at the time. I wanted to ask you about Lord Van Zieks, actually. I heard that his older brother was killed some years ago by a mass murderer known as the Professor, who targeted nobles and royalty. Is that right? You Japanese are a thorough lot. You've done your research well. Yes. And you could say it was that very incident that gave rise to the Reaper.
What? Why?
When his brother, Clint Van Zieks, was murdered. It was just after Jan Barak had graduated from the University of London and became a prosecutor. When obvious criminals who managed to evade conviction in court started disappearing, rumors quickly spread throughout the capital. Londoners started to say that wherever Barak Van Zieks went, the ghost of his dead brother wasn't far behind.
Oh my word!
So, Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, it's the ghost of his brother? Well, ever since that time he became a very aloof figure in London's legal circles. Whoa.
Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart.
Go ahead.
It's about Professor Harebrain's experimental machine. We'd like your permission to examine the remains if possible.
Are you well versed in science, then?
Not in the slightest. In fact, you could say I was barely aware of the subject at all until recently.
Well, the special dispensation legally preventing investigation of the machine is currently being annulled. Within a few hours, Dr. Sykes' team of forensic experts will begin their own investigation. But I suppose until then, there's no harm in you looking at the wreckage, as long as you touch nothing.
Thank you. Being able to look at it is better than nothing. And I'll be able to see it too.
Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me now, I'm afraid. My next engagement calls.
We are extremely sorry to have troubled you when you are so busy, my lord.
I have important matters to attend to in preparation for the symposium, you understand. Well, there he goes. Thank you, sir. So, to the laboratory. Ooh. Cool place. I dig the skeleton and the owl and the magpie, maybe? That's probably just a crow. I believe this is it. Dr. Side's laboratory. That chemical smell really assaults the nose. And there's plenty to assault the eyes in here, too.
It looks as though the doctor isn't here. But we're here now, so we may as well do some sightseeing, don't you think?
What a seasoned tourist you've become, Miss Susato. You could just have a little look around, being careful not to upset any restless souls. Oh my. How you doing, Mr. Bones? Well, look at this. What a magnificent display case. The cherry wood has been polished to a high sheen, and the intricate carving is a joy to behold. Western cabinet makers really are very skilled, aren't they? That's not what I thought he would talk about.
Do you have nothing to say about the skeleton inside, Mr. Naruhodo?
Miss Susato, can't you tell that I'm trying very hard to avoid talking about the terrifying contents of the case? It's how I cope.
I'll be sure to remember that from now on. That looks like an owl and a crow up there.
I know. They haven't even twitched since we came in here.
Well, no, they wouldn't have. They're taxidermy mounts, Mr. Naruhodo.
Ugh, I was afraid you were going to say that. I've been trying very hard to tell myself they're just sleeping with their eyes open.
Yes, I think perhaps you were wise to put something like your Dharma doll on display in the office instead.
Neat lamp. Got a caduceus design on it.
I suppose this is Dr. Sight's desk.
Ugh, I would not like to work in a place like this.
It's very tidy, though, isn't it, Mr. Naruhodo? Imagine how efficiently she must work.
The lighting is poor, which is bad for the eyes, and the chemical smell can't be good for you. Not to mention the skeleton watching over you as you work, which is definitely bad for the nerves. Yeah, is there even a window in here?
Well, yes. Those are valid concerns, I suppose.
I can just about cope with a one-eyed Dharma watching over me, but that's all. Look at all the bottles on the shelves in these cabinets. What an assortment of chemicals.
These ones here are labeled highly toxic.
Ugh, that's worrying, because there are also things that look like salt and pepper shakers in there.
Oh, yes, and they actually say salt and pepper on them. The doctor probably spent a lot of time in this room, I suppose. Perhaps she has meals here sometimes.
Life goes on, even when you're surrounded by death. Oh, there's a ventilation grill there. That's nice. Those large jars seem to have pale things floating around inside them. I suppose they're fruit liquors or something. Or like the pickled umeboshi we make back at home.
Ah, Father had jars like that in his laboratory as well. I expect they're human organs in a preserving solution, probably as examples of some rare medical condition.
Miss Susato, there are some things in the world that it's perfectly fine never to know about. Ever.
Oh!
So as I said, I'm sure they're fruit liquors or umeboshi, aren't they?
Of course.
A table and a set of sharp tools. When you consider each in isolation, it all looks quite innocent. So why is it that when you put them side by side, they seem so horribly disturbing?
It might be best not to ponder it too deeply. Seeing the large tome that's open on the desk does make me wonder, though. How can anybody concentrate on bookwork with this acrid odor of chemicals in the air?
You'd either have to have a cast iron constitution or a really terrible sense of smell. Well, I think that might be it. Yeah. Oh, no, the book. This has to be it. Look at this big, thick book here.
Ah, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation team's spending, I think. Oh?
What is it?
It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but Well, one entry seems rather strange.
Really? In what way?
They're buying 500 scalpels every month.
500? They must be working really hard on dissecting corpses.
I don't know. Judicial autopsies are only carried out in certain special circumstances. And scalpel blades can be sharpened, too.
It does seem a bit strange, you're right. 500 scalpels a month? What could they possibly be using all them for? That is weird. Some kind of money laundering thing going on?
What are you doing?
Ah! Oh, I just noticed she has like a snake bracelet on her left hand. That's neat. Sorry, we had something we wanted to ask you, but you weren't here, so... Wait, hold on. Okay, you know a character's important when they have their own unique music theme show up when they appear. Just who are you really?
So you thought you'd snoop around? That's acceptable to you people from the East, is it? Well, what do you want?
Lord Strunheart told us, you see, that it was you who examined the victim's body. Mr. Asmon's body, I mean.
So we came to ask you about your findings, on Lord Strunheart's advice. Very well. If the Lord Chief Justice has given his consent, I'll tell you what our investigation revealed. But when we're done, you must leave immediately.
Fair enough. Let me show you some cool stuff. Dr. Scythe, would you be good enough to take a look at this?
Oh, you think I'm good enough, do you?
No, I didn't mean...
So I'm not good enough. In that case, why would you show me anything?
Ugh. Clearly you're too good for me to show you anything again, ever. So that was just generic dialogue then. Let's ask her about her own autopsy report. Oh, nothing. How about a photo of the body? Okay, I'm thinking that I have nothing to show to her.
So, you want to know what the forensic investigation team determined from its examination of the scene. The victim, Mr. Odie Asmon, who disappeared from the experimentation stage amid an explosion, and the Mr. Asmon, who disappeared moments later partway up the Crystal Tower, were without question one and the same person. That is the team's conclusion.
What? But that can't be right.
It was an elaborate trick. We can only speculate about how it was carried out. Let's see. If two people who looked very similar to each other were involved, they could have made it appear as if one single person had switched places, couldn't they? Very true. But sadly, in this instance, that was not the case. The man who disappeared and the man who subsequently reappeared was the same person. The fingerprints at the scene make that quite evident.
Ah, fingerprints.
They're not yet officially recognized as forensic evidence in the British justice system. But one day, they will be used as an investigative aid as a matter of course. Oh my, but that would mean... that the instantaneous kinesis actually took place. So, where does that leave us? My team was tasked with investigating, not drawing conclusions. Instantaneous kinesis is impossible, and yet the body did move from one place to the other. This hasn't cleared anything up at all. It's made the whole thing even more of a mystery.
Whoa! That's cool looking. Oh, not just an assistant. Mama? Mama, what is this? Whoa. Huh? Oh. Ah! Where did she spring from? And did she just call the doctor Mama? Wait. Okay, so now we're 2 for 2s with... Well, okay, well... Never mind, I was about to say spoilery stuff.
This is a lawyer, dear. Oh.
Hello. To meet you. Pleased to meet you. Yes, I'm a defense lawyer. Ryunosuke
Mama? Yes? Can I cut this one up?
Oh. Okay.
What? I've never seen inside an Eastern person before. I want to know what it looks like. Of course you can't. It's a live specimen, as you can very well see. Boring.
I think I just had a near-death experience.
Oh dear, Mr. Naruhodo, you're as pale as a corpse.
Don't wrong thing to say. Then let's leave before I'm mistaken for one. Whomstiff the fuck was that? So, what are you doing at the moment, Doctor?
Keeping a close eye on things so no impertinent Easterners think they can look around my office.
Are there such impertinent Easterners around? How terrible.
Yes, you.
She doesn't mince her words, Miss Usato.
I think perhaps it's time we left.
Yep, it's time. To the crime scene.
Oh, doggy! Puppy! I had no idea there were so many people in the world.
I know what you mean. It's really packed here today.
It feels as though it's taken us 2 hours just to make our way through the crowds to this point.
Has it? I shut my brain down so I didn't really notice, to be honest.
Gosh, I do wish I had your absence of mind sometimes, Mr. Naruhodo.
There you are. I had a feeling you lot would show your mugs before long. Hey, it's her, Gina. Oh, no, it's Gregson. Oh, Inspector Gregson. I see you're hard at work as usual.
Warm greetings to you. I do hope you've been keeping well since we last met.
What's with all the ceremony? We just saw each other in court this morning.
Not you, Sunshine. The gentlewoman is so loyally at your side. Oh. Why, thank you, Inspector. How good of you to notice.
He might be a bit rough around the edges, but he's still a proper English gentleman at heart, I suppose. As you've probably guessed, we were hoping to investigate the scene some more.
Right. Well then, that's the young trainee's domain. Oi, get over here, Gina.
She seems to be busy playing with a puppy. Probably giving it a traditional East End training.
Gina! She's a police officer now?
Amazing, isn't it?
She's a good kid, actually. Heart's in the right place, anyway. She's got the detection bug, if you ask me. Yep, I think she'll follow in my footsteps nicely.
What do you mean?
I'm being transferred. It's time for me to say toodaloo to London.
Oh no, really? That's a bit sudden, isn't it? I had no idea. Where are you going to be posted then? We'll come to see how you're getting along.
Not likely, but you're welcome to try. If you don't mind a trip to France, that is.
To France?
I'll be working in the Paris Police Prefecture. Should be right up my alley.
But France is an entirely different country. I don't understand. Why would you be sent there?
That's the way the adult world works, Sunshine. Now don't go poking your nose in where it's not wanted. I'm intended to take the kid with me when I go.
What? You're taking Gina to Paris?
Well, I can't leave her here in London. Who knows what had become of her?
Wait, who said anything about Paris? I suppose he's worried she'd slip back into slipping her hands into people's pockets and purses.
I don't think he's worried about her pickpocketing, Mr. Naruhodo. I think he's worried about the Reaper.
Oh, of course. So that's playing on Inspector Gregson's mind too, is it?
Anyway, I haven't mentioned any of this to Gina, so don't go blabbing, you hear me?
No, of course not.
I've got to keep that diving diva safe and sound. Until all this is over, at least.
Oh, so she has selective hearing, does she? Well, it would be so easy to just dismiss this whole Ghost of Clint Van Zeeks being the Reaper thing out of hand, but I've seen what the Faye family can do. It's not out of the question.
Oi, did you just call me a bloomin' divin' diva again? So you heard that, did ya? Right, well, any questions about the scene, you can put them to my capable detective diva here. Alright, you heard the boss. Inspector Lestrade's in charge here now.
I suppose I'd better keep my word and not mention anything about Paris. So, Gina, you've got a new dog, have you?
It's adorable! Isn't he great? Toby's his name. Toby. Oh, how delightful. He's absolutely adorable.
Yes, the dog does seem lovely. But it's the not-so-lovely Inspector Gregson that's playing on my mind, to be honest. Well, I doubt there's anything new to see, but this is all new to Susato, so...
Here's the scorching on the ground that you mentioned.
Yes, and there's what's left of the green balloon's envelope. All clear evidence of the balloon that exploded on the day of the incident.
Poor Professor Hairbrain. I do feel sorry for him that his dreams have been shattered like this.
Well, more like popped. Someone's well and truly burst his bubble, as it were. Ha 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 ha! That's my joke. I titled a video that. Ouch, I'm a bad person.
Ah, the Crystal Tower. I can't believe I'm seeing it at such close proximity with my own eyes.
You've really been looking forward to the great exhibition, haven't you, Miss Susato?
Oh, yes. When I found out that I had to return to Japan, I'm afraid I cursed my luck.
But here you are, back in London, gazing up at the magnificent tower.
I know. Perhaps I was wrong to curse my luck so harshly. What a shame that the symbolic landmark of the Great Exhibition has been damaged like that.
Yes, unfortunately, the birdcage crashed in the most prominent position possible. It's the gods giving us a warning, if you ask me. Man must travel under his own steam and not cut corners with instantaneous kinesis.
But imagine what might have happened if the birdcage had landed in a slightly different location. The death toll could have been far worse. So I think perhaps it was a blessing in disguise.
Well, the gods are benevolent, obviously. I did say it was just a warning. Man must travel under his own steam, or next time bird cages will rain down on all of you.
Your faith is much stronger than I realized.
Well, how do you think I passed the entrance exam for Yume University? It wasn't by studying alone. More like Crystal Tower of Babel, am I right? Eh?
Oh look, a flying balloon! I've never seen one in the flesh before.
I can't understand how they can fly, and so high up as well.
Oh, but think of the view, Mr. Naruhodo. You must be able to see for miles and miles.
I do think of it, and it terrifies me. I mean, it would be certain death if you fell out.
I'm sure they're perfectly safe. After all, they've been invented by some of the brightest minds in the world.
Let's not forget that we know at least one has exploded.
I'm sure there are other ways to fly.
Maybe not invented quite yet. Scared to touch this just yet. That'll take me up to the platform, so... Gina! Might be something new if we show you the armband. This armband is proof, in Japan at least, that I'm a defense lawyer. Now we've seen this. Wait, what? What? But I missed the thing! Oh, that sucks. Oh, man. Okay. It could have been something really funny. Gina, we were actually hoping that we could investigate the scene again.
Yeah, alright. If it's around here, you can do what you like.
Oh, that's alright, is it?
I'm gonna be playing with me new friend here.
Ah, yes, Toby. Wait, a small dog named Toby? It's him, the creator of Undertale. I'm a big fan. Woof.
The machine that exploded must be at the top of those stairs, I presume. I haven't actually seen it yet, so if you don't mind. Sorry, you can't go up there, Suze. Oh. It's like I told Otto yesterday. Even I ain't allowed near that wreck. What's it called again? The reason we ain't supposed to touch it? The
Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious Act. Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one. That's why only them lot are allowed to investigate it. What are they called again? The Forensic something?
The Forensic Investigation Team. Is that what you were thinking of?
That's the one, yeah. But isn't it the case that the special dispensation has been lifted? I think so. I don't really get it, to be truthful with ya. You're still supposed to get permission from some bigwig or other, as far as I know. What was his name again? Lord Strange something? I'm not sure that's quite right, Gina. I think you mean Lord Strongheart, perhaps. That's the one, yeah. Apparently he's always watching the time or something. Actually, we've just recently been to see Lord Strongheart. Huh? You what? You've met him? Last time the boss was called to go and see him, he waited for 3 hours at the Cove's office and came back sniveling.
Tragic.
Well, Lord Strongheart has given us permission to examine the scene as long as we touch nothing. Oh, yeah?
Honestly.
Alright then, go ahead. What if it turns out you're lying? It'll be the boss who gets it. He'll never eat another chip again in his life.
Oh, God forbid.
So, you're still saying all this above's board, are ya? I'm sure everything will be fine.
That really would be tragic.
Alright then, them's the stairs. Off you go. Oh, thank you, Gina.
You know, I would have expected Gina to have a stronger reaction to Susato's return. Oh, maybe that's what I skipped. Crap. Yeah, this investigating the scene button here, it overwrote something else. I didn't even get to read it, what it was. Oh well.
It was great, weren't it? Had a right laugh. It was a new one on me, that. You know, being in court and not spending the whole time worrying I'm about to be found out. You did keep an awful lot of secrets in all your previous court appearances, didn't you? Yeah, and Otto's made things hard for me every single time and all.
Just doing my job, Gina.
But watching someone else get it in the neck is a lot of fun, actually. It was amazing when you showed that dodgy professor's dodgy experiment was a total fix. The dodgy professor, as you put it, Gina, is Mr. Naruhodo's client.
Yes, I'm starting to wish he wasn't, though.
It's the boss I feel sorry for, sent off to do the impossible. What do you mean? He's supposed to arrest that other cove, ain't he? And in the time for tomorrow and all. You know, the dodgy engineer. What's his name again?
Mr. Drebber, you mean? Enoch Drebber.
That's the one, yeah.
So the police are looking for this mysterious man with the black monocle. I guessed they would be.
It's putting too much on the boss, if you ask me. He says it's giving him gut-ache. Oh dear, but I do wonder if that isn't actually from all the fried food.
So Scotland Yard are trying to track down Mr. Enoch Drebber. I wonder if they've had any luck.
He's really funny looking. Got 2 eyes what don't match. Stole a glimpse of a picture of him earlier. I mean, I didn't actually pinch it or nothing. The old devil's got it.
Sorry? Who?
You know, that scowling reaper what's always glugging down glasses of that blood-red plonk. Ah, Lord Van Zeeks. He's always had it in for me, that cove. Dunno what he's always scowling about, mind. Probably would have been a pretty good boss as it goes.
She'd rather be the Reaper's apprentice than a detective's trainee. The way I see it, if the choice is between a chip-guzzling detective and a chalice-glugging demigod, you're equally badly off with both.
I suppose you're right. Hadn't thought of it like that.
Glad we put that one to bed.
Anyway, the point is, everyone at the yard's dead set on finding the fishy engineer. But there don't seem to be no clues to go on, so they're stuck.
There's nothing that can lead us to Drebber at all? Maybe we can investigate the machine and see for ourselves. Where did you find that little mutt then, Gina?
Oi, don't be so flamin' rude, Otto. Slight overreaction, don't you think? He ain't no mud, alright? Toby's, how'd they put it? Oh yeah, a bona fide detective.
Sorry?
I've given him a proper title and everything. It's Chief Inspector Toby to you.
More senior than Inspector Gregson, is he?
Oh, so he's a police dog, is he?
The police recruit dogs now? Oh, is that not a thing yet?
I've heard that they're already being used officially in Germany as part of their city policing. They're used for chasing criminals and such like. They have a wonderful sense of smell, after all.
All right. Yeah. The quintessential police dog would be a German Shepherd, wouldn't it? Yeah, if it got its start in Germany, that makes sense to me. I have a fairly good sense of smell myself, as it happens. I can tell undergarments that have been freshly laundered from undergarments that haven't.
That's nothing compared to this little fellow, Otto.
Oh, really?
According to what the boss said, once Toby here's got a good whiff of your drawers, he could chase that scent to the other side of the world.
What? To the other side of the world? You mean he can swim?
Mr. Naruhodo, I think you may have missed the point by rather a wide margin.
I just can't believe this little dog has such an incredible skill.
I'm telling you, Otto, there's gonna be more and more dogs doing their bit for the police in future. Yes, I agree. Right, one of these days we'll be barking orders at us lot, not the other way around.
Missile. I miss Missile.
Oh dear, sorry Gina, I don't think I agree with your vision quite that much. Well, anyway, whatever you think about that, Toby here is Britain's first police dog. I found him down in the East End the other day. Someone had just chucked him out on the street.
There you go. I knew she'd lifted him from somewhere.
Oh, Gina, you're such a kind-hearted soul, aren't you? To children and to animals.
I do wonder how the orphans of the East End are holding up. Well, up the stairs we go. These stairs lead up to the experimentation stage. Let's go and see what we can find out. Well, at first glance... Oh! No, there is something different. I don't think that bird cage was there before?
Oh my, so this is the machine that was used to deceive people into thinking instantaneous kinesis had taken place.
Yes, that's right, or rather, it was the machine. It's a little worse for wear at the moment.
What extraordinary lengths Professor Harebrain went to in order to obtain their research grant.
No. The professor was tricked as well. He didn't know anything about it.
Yes, of course. It is amazing, though, isn't it? The scale of the whole affair is so very British.
You're right about that. You'd never see such a grand deception in Japan, that's for sure.
Oh, look, is that...
Ooh!
Lord Van Zeek's.
So I think we're more or less done here, aren't we, shall we, Mr. Sato?
Already?
He is the Reaper, remember? We do well to keep our distance, I think. No, he's not.
But we have permission to be here, from the top. We're perfectly well allowed to investigate this machine, as long as we don't touch anything.
From the top? Do you mean Lord Stronhart?
Exactly. So we can stay here and stare at this wreckage for as long as we like.
She could have been at the center of the explosion here and it wouldn't have bent her steel will. Well, ow. So, sorry about the cut there. You may have heard me mumble, ow. Well, what happened was, about like 20 minutes into recording this, I started getting this pain in my gut, gas pain. And at that moment, recently, it became too much and I had to do some emergency stretches to reduce the pressure, as it were. So, you know what this is, don't you? Divine punishment. It's me. I'm Mr. Buttstench. I'm Mr. Stinky. I deserve this. I do. Let's continue.
What a terrible explosion it must have been. Even the steel girders have buckled and twisted in the blast.
What they call the birdcage was right in the middle of it all, just here.
But look, Mr. Naruhodo, that metal grill on the floor. Looks as though it's designed to open.
I knew it! I saw it in the friggin' photo! I saw this! I called it! It does, doesn't it? If the floor had opened at the precise moment the explosion occurred, the birdcage could have dropped through and disappeared from sight.
I don't think there's any doubt that this was a very elaborate hoax, is there? Oh, isn't it exhilarating? All this different architecture from all corners of the world.
It does make you feel a bit like an explorer, doesn't it? I know it's all subjective, but the onion-shaped roofs have rather caught my attention personally.
It is very subjective, isn't it?
Japanese buildings with their wood and paper construction have excellent ventilation. And I've realized that British buildings being made from brick and stone are very strong and long-lasting. The more you know about how things are done in other countries, the more you understand your own, I feel.
Oh yes, I do agree with you there.
But I can't help wondering what an onion does for the roof of a building. I mean, I suppose it's playing on my mind because I don't like the taste of onions.
Me either. I hate onions. I can't stand them. You really oughtn't let your taste in vegetables dictate your taste in roofs, Mr. Naruhodo.
You know, I really haven't given much thought on what my favorite architecture in the world is. Maybe like the super modernism type buildings, like the kind of square, very sharp angles. You know the type. Yeah, that might be my favorite. I'd live in a place like that. This wasn't here yesterday.
Really? But if I'm not mistaken, it's the cage in which the victim was standing before he was apparently beamed through the air.
That's right, the birdcage. According to what Professor Hairbrain said in court, it's made of wood.
Or more precisely, Japanese cypress, I think.
Oh, what?
And despite having been in an explosion and then falling from a great height, it's relatively unharmed. What wonderfully durable construction, wouldn't you say, Mr. Naruhodo?
I'd understood that the forensic investigation team had taken it away yesterday to examine it. I suppose they must have brought it back here when they'd finished their work.
But sadly, not with the body inside it.
Huh? No, that's right. I know we were given strict instructions not to touch anything, but still. This is too important a piece of evidence to overlook. We might need it for the trial. Birdcage stuffed in your pockets. Yay! Boy, still nothing from the microphone stand.
I hear that a ride on the Ferris wheel is a favorite romantic outing among young London's couples.
I think the romance would be slightly spoilt by the abject terror, personally, but then I'm not a Londoner.
Are you a little scared of heights, Mr. Naruhodo?
It's not that I'm scared, not at all. It's just that staying on the ground seems so much safer.
Well, perhaps I shall have to ask Iris and Mr. Sholmes to accompany me on it, in that case.
When you put it like that, part of me does want to give it a try.
Oh dear, it is complicated for you, isn't it? Look at that horn-shaped transmitting device. Isn't it amazing?
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it.
It makes you think, doesn't it? If only it had been just a normal horn, none of this would have happened.
That's almost exactly what I thought as well. I bet I can predict what you're going to say next in that case. You're about to say, nothing ever goes to plan, aren't you? Alright, calm down, Joseph.
Oh no, I would never say something like that.
Yeah, I had to think, there's so many JoJos out there now. However much I look at them, I just can't come to terms with those Tamari floating in the sky.
You've been glaring at them constantly since we came up here.
Sorry, the feelings of wanting to ride in one and wanting never to set foot in one are fighting it out inside me.
But if you don't look where you're walking, you might fall from the stage.
I don't think I notice. That's how fiercely the battle inside me is raging. Inside you there are two wolves. One is named Toby. The other is named Toby. Both wolves are named Toby.
I think you should make peace with riding in one, Mr. Naruhodo. It really would be much safer that way.
Alright. God, there's gotta be something to this broken chain, right? Well, no. If everything above this line here exists to fool the crowd and Hairbrain, probably doesn't even matter. No, all that matters is the hatch, the trap door. Maybe we can ask Van Zieks about it. We'll have to do that next time. So, I think a good portion of this video was spent laying the seeds for a future case. This symposium. Mikotoba making landfall in Britain, Dr. Scythe, her daughter. It's all gonna be super relevant in the next case, or maybe the fifth even. Gosh, this is only the third case in the game, man. This case here, this middle of the game, in-between game, case, this in-between case, it feels like it's laying so much foundation work for the grand finale. And yet we have 2 cases to go. I've no doubt the next one will similarly tease us quite a bit with this whole grand conspiracy thing, but oh man, it's just gonna be so satisfying to peel back the curtain like layers of an onion or an ogre and just see the truth. And it's been like 2 days? You'd think this would stop smoking by now. This black smoke billowing out from, well, below, I guess? Looking forward to talking with Van Zieks next time, for sure. hopefully it won't be too cringe-inducing. Like, if Ryunosuke just bluntly, straight up out of nowhere asks about Clint, that's gonna be, you know? That's how it's gonna feel. I'm in pain. And not just from the gas in my gut. Yeah, good times all around. Can't wait to investigate more. I guess we'll talk with Van Zeeks, then maybe... Let's see. We got the prison. And... 2 spells, of course, but... From where I stand, I fail to see where 2 spells is gonna be relevant anymore. You know, maybe... Maybe Madame Two Spells will be back with the wax statue. Like, she was heading out the door to pay those 200 pounds to pay the ransom fee and get her statue of the professor back. I don't think there was anything about, like, you know, stopping her or preventing her from doing that. No, I think the implication is that she went ahead and did it between days here. I am quite interested indeed to see the professor. Actually, if that's the case, maybe I should go see that before I talk to Van Zeeks? Whatever, we'll find out one way or the other next time. I'm Zephyr the Jester. This has been more of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Actually, no. Redo. I'm Mr. Buttstench. This has been the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you next time. So until then, please take care.